everyone. Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here again, and I have Coach Becky here. How
Hi,
are you?
everyone.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited about today.
I always get excited when somebody comes to talk because it's fun, right? To share.
Yes,
So I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad everyone's joining us. And I've been getting so many questions. I wanted to answer some of it today, but I asked Coach Becky what does she wanted to talk, and she had something very important too. So there's just so many important things to talk about. So I
yes,
had to go with what Becky has suggested today, and I think it will really resonate with a lot of parents and teachers as well. Don't you think, Coach
I
Becky?
do. I do. Absolutely. Lived
So what are
experience.
Yes, yes. So today we're going to talk about something that many parents experience but rarely say it out loud, right? We're not that brave to say it out loud, right?
No.
We keep it here, yeah. The feeling that even when we deeply love your child and trying your best, but sometimes you still feel like you're failing as a parent.
Mhm.
That's the
Abs-
hardest feeling, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, because you don't want to ever fail your kids. You
No.
do everything to not to, but then you start feeling this and it's not in alignment. It's no longer, you're not parenting from alignment anymore. So
No.
that's hard, right?
Right.
So many parents carry this quietly because they can't say it out loud, because we have this whole world where we have to appear perfect.
Hmm.
So we have to hide it, right?
Right.
So when a child struggles or acts out or becomes anxious or shuts down, the first place parents often go is blaming themselves, right?
Right.
It's always this way, right? So today I have Coach Becky with us, and Becky is going to share with us about this. And thank you so much. And I'm going to start with actually bringing us here and now, because I don't know about you. I know you've been busy.
Yes.
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 So, how do you bring yourself here and now, Coach Becky? What do you do?
Well, I do two things. I tap. I do a tapping strategy. But the thing that gets me, I think, calmer faster is when I learned breathing techniques. And so there's one that's my go to, especially when I've had a day like today. It's easy, it's simple, it's quick, it gets me grounded and back into whatever I'm working on.
Beautiful. So, do you want to share with us?
So it is the 4 by 4 by 4. So it's to breathe in 4 counts, hold 4 counts, and then breathe out four. Sometimes I breathe out six, depending on how stressed out I am. Sometimes I can push more out than I do because it makes me feel better. But typically it's four in and hold four, and then let 4 counts out.
So, should we do six or four?
Um, Today, let's do six.
Okay, awesome. So, inhale for four, hold for four, and then exhale everything, all the stress, all the pain, all the pressure, all the negative thinking. Just let it go for six. Just whew, everything out through your nose. Coach Becky's right. The longer you exhale, the better, because you just let everything go. Just release it. Let it go. Okay, let's do that again. Inhale for four, hold for four, and then exhale everything, dropping your shoulders, your neck. Just release all the pain and just let it go through your mouth. You don't need to hold anything. Storaging is not necessary, right? Let it go. Okay, let's do that one more time. Inhale for four, hold for four, and then let go for six. Slowly let go through your mouth. Everything, anything that you've been carrying all day long, all night long, just let it go so you can just be here and now. Yeah, it always grounds us, right? It's
Right.
so important. It's so funny that because we always breathe though, right? We're breathing all the time, but just like when we pay attention to it, it makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah. So I also want to talk about how to bring ourselves now and here. One of the ways is tapping, breathing, right? There's so many ways, but also we have to get our thoughts which are all over the place, right? Usually our mind is working in different areas, and mostly it's in the past.
Mhm.
Love to replay something that you didn't do right, especially with the topic today. Like if I'm not a good parent, if I start feeling like I'm failing, I'm going to rewind and watch all the places that I've been not according to me the best parent, or parenting things that I've done, and I replay it, I relive it, and then I just get angry and I get frustrated. I feel shit, right?
Mhm.
Basically, I feel like shit at the end, but I still do it. Why do
Right.
we do it? Why does our brain do this to us, right? It just keeps doing this to us. So we need to be aware of it. And we need to be aware of it to say, you know what? I've actually dealt with that. I can only take the lessons from it. And I just wanted to let it go.
Mhm.
I just don't want it to rewind and watch again and again and again, because it just pisses us off, right? It's not
Right.
that great to watch something that we already know we made a mistake. So why don't we just take the lesson from that and let it go? That's how I feel. How about yourself, Becky?
Absolutely.
Yes. And then another place we love, love, love to go is the future. And especially if you're a parent and if you're worried that you're failing, you are going to think about your child's future in the worst possible outcomes, right? We always project, oh, what if that happens? What if this goes wrong? What if this, he ends up being like this, or she ends up being like this? What am I going to do? Now, does that help if we project the future of our kids or ourselves in that way? Like, I'm just creating anxiety for me. I'm not even here. I mean, if my child just came and asked me something, I would be so annoyed at them, right? Because I was just freaking out about the future. And they come and say, Mom. And I'm like, no, don't interrupt me because I'm in this space. So, does that help? To think of
Yeah.
future with all these what ifs going to happen? No, it's a waste of time, and it actually makes so much anxiety. And if you're already feeling bad, it just creates more and more of that energy to be even carried into the future, and you're not here. And if you, as I said, if your child comes now and asks you something, you're not here,
Right.
you're not available, and you're going to have bad mood. Because why? You just been thinking about how bad it's going to be in the future. So only thing we can do is, future is always possible for us, right? Future is the only thing that's coming. It's, we know it's coming. Something's coming tomorrow, something's coming in 2 hours. So why don't we just bless it and then to just release it? Like, why can't we just release it and let it happen to us? Why do we need to produce it?
Control.
Yeah, exactly. We love it, right? But our mind is so powerful and it's crazy. So we need to teach it that we own it and we can bring it here and now. And we have to let it, we have to tell it that let it go. Let
Yeah.
go of the future, let go of the past, come here and now. So because I can then learn here, I can live here, and I can lead myself and others here. And as a parent, we're always leading ourselves and our family and our kids, right? It's
Right.
so important to be 100% present, even if you have those feelings that we're going to talk about today, that you're failing, or I'm doing everything right, I don't think I'm doing a good job, or any kind of feelings like that. If you're here and now, actually you can deal with it better than not being here,
Right.
right? So it's so important to be, everyone's here now, right? I'm hoping. So
Yes.
control your mind. You got it, because it doesn't own you, you own it.
Exactly.
You own it. So you have the power to get rid of it. So today we want to talk about feeling bad, feeling like I'm failing my child or my family. Becky, can you share a little about your parenting journey and why this topic is so important and close to you?
Oh, close is it's my twin. I think it was my skin for a long time. I think um, it. I have two children. One is 30 and one is 17, so they're 12 years apart. And you would have thought that having the first one, being a boy, I would have learned all the things. And the when my daughter came, it would have been great. But they are two totally different people. And they come with two totally different personalities and learning styles and everything. So, with my journey as a parent, I'm a single mom,
Yes.
and as I would look at married parents and how they would parent their children, because I knew my son didn't have a father around. So I needed to make sure that I was including some of those things that he was learning. And one of them was, well, I have perfectionism.
Mm.
So one of them was behavior in public. And so we would go places, and although I would let him be a kid, when we were in public spaces, there was no room for him to have a bad day, to not feel well. I remember one time we were at a funeral, and my son had been on medicine, albuterol.
Sorry,
He has asthma, and he was antsy because the medicine, the way the medicine makes you feel, and I didn't
hold
allow.
on, Becky. Hold
Oh,
on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Can you start again? Go back to being a single mom because the internet was very, for
Okay.
both of us, it was off. So sorry, everybody.
That's
So it happens, life happens, right? Internet is happening. So, okay, go back to when you were
okay.
single mom. That
Single
sentence.
mom, I remember a time my son was in elementary and we had attended a funeral. And there's a certain type of behavior at this funeral. And there were lots of people at the funeral that I went to high school with. And so here I am in my perfectionism because I'm a perfectionist and I have this vision and I've always been we're going to act a certain way at a certain time and that's just how I function. My son, however, functions differently. He
Mm,
lives life differently. He's a little bit more expressive. He asks a lot of questions. So he happened to be on albuterol medicine, which makes him antsy, and so sitting in the funeral, I kept wanting him to be still. And so I said, I'm going to count to three. And if you don't sit still, I'm going to take you to the bathroom. We're going to have a talk.
mm,
And so I counted one, two, three, and he said four, five. And I got so angry. I was like, what? I was so embarrassed by this moment. Instead of laughing it off, and moving on and understanding that he had albuterol in his system and he was just a kid at a funeral and this is
yes,
how kids act at a funeral. I was embarrassed
of
and I felt
course.
like a failure as a mom because my child wouldn't sit still during like is old enough to sit still during this
Yeah.
small service. And so I took him to the bathroom. We had a conversation. He's like, Mom, I can't help it.
Mm,
But I was so embarrassed by that moment, and when I think back, I was like, "Why? Why was I embarrassed? I knew he was on albuterol. That was a silly thing for me." But it was my perfectionism and being, um I always compared myself to the other people who were married and had 2 parents at home, raising their kids, and so I needed to do double duty, and if I did double the work, then I was gonna have just as, this student that was gonna be all the amazing things, a straight A student, he was gonna make all the right choices. That
yes.
just didn't happen, that wasn't his personality. Straight A student, yes. Mature, yes. He was a very good kid.
Mm,
But I just remember that one time where I didn't give him the space he needed to be a kid, and I got so angry that we even ended up, even though I sat in the back of the service, we ended up leaving early
yes.
because of the I was just so flustered from this moment.
But we all know, right, as parents, if we have gone to church service or funeral service or somewhere, like even weddings sometime, right, even though it can be a little loud, but even there, if there's something going on, these gatherings, if a child is not behaving like what the adults want, there's always the eyes are looking at you, right?
Yes,
Everyone's eyes are like rolling, and why can't you control your kid, right? I
yes,
mean, that's what you're going through your head. Oh my goodness,
yes.
you're thinking that why can't she control her kid? What kind of parenting is this? And I'm getting aggravated every time I think more people looking at me. I'm getting, probably that's what was happening to you, right?
Which is, the whole bathroom conversation, the whole thing. And so through the journey of parenting, there have been lots of lessons I had to learn.
Yes.
And one of them was that when he acts out, or even when my daughter acts out, it is they're trying to regain control. There's something else going on.
Yes.
Um, I had surgery one time. My daughter started acting up. I don't have time for this behavior with this child when I'm trying to just figure out how I'm going to A, pay for the surgery and B, alive after the surgery's over because it was a very serious surgery. My mom and my son at the time was my son was a young adult. And I could not figure out what was going on with her. And finally, one day in the closet, she was cleaning out her closet. And she was sitting there picking up her clothes. And she just made the comment, "I thought you were going to die, Mom." And that really, uh, it upset me because that's the moment that I figured out why she had been misbehaving.
Mm.
Her misbehaving was trying to get attention from me because she was trying to regain that safety or some type of control in her life because her routine was off. And
Mm.
now her only parent might not be here when this surgery's over. And she actually did not tell me this until I was cleared from the doctor. So it
Oh.
took her 6 weeks to share this with me, and it broke my heart that this whole time she was grounded. I was fussing at her. She was just always had to do extra things in for consequences.
Mm.
The whole time it was something that I could have had a conversation with her about.
Yes.
And then, of course, the mom guilt. And that's where we as parents feel like a failure because we didn't catch this, or we're yelling at our child and we don't understand where their anger is coming from. And we think it's a behavior problem. You need to straighten up. This is not how I raised you, is the type of conversation we have with them without sitting down and really just listening. And I think that's the part we miss as parents.
Because we also have this expectation, right, with our kids. Like we're always like, you should know better.
Yes.
Because we were conditioned like that, right? Our parents never. I mean, I don't know about your parent, but a lot of parents don't sit and talk in the olden days, right? They just kind of give you instructions, right?
Which is, I was going to mention that because my parents, they told me what to do and I got up and did it. There was not a lot of conversation. It was get up and go do it. And that's how they were raised. They can only raise you how they know. And
Yes.
so I had to rethink that and really just sit down and change the way that I communicated with my daughter and
Yes.
my son so that we could have this open communication. I think that's what's missing
Yes, and then it
today.
has the pendulum has swung so far to the other side that a lot of people nowadays talk so much to their kids, and they want to negotiate with their kids, and they want to have so many decisions made by kids, and that's hard for them. That's just overwhelming for them.
Yes.
It's asking them all these things. Like sometimes we need to set some boundaries that our children can explore safely, right? We don't need to
Yes.
ask them for everything. It doesn't mean you're taking their identity away or their freedom away. It means that you're setting boundaries that they can just go explore and come back, and when they need more expansion in that boundary, will allow
Yes.
it because they modeled it that they can handle it, right? So that's a safety net that we need to implement so our kids don't feel overwhelmed with, because the
Yes.
world is too big for them to explore all at once and they're not ready for it, right? So that's what I'm talking about is, a lot of people call that the gentle parenting, right? So I
Mhm.
always like to distinguish between gentle parenting, and when we're talking, these conversations are not gentle parenting.
No.
No, these are not, right? They're very different. Yeah, I just want to mention that. You know the effect of gentle parenting. If you start negotiating with your kids, the kids can't make decision that much,
No.
right? Their brain's not developed enough to think like that. So we're overloading it, right? So it's much different conversation. So you said the surgery plus losing a grandparent, right? At the time, is what
Yes.
happened with
My son was a freshman in high school when my dad died, and that he was very, very close to my dad. My son played tennis. My dad was a tennis coach. So having that bonding, he taught my son how to drive. He taught my son how to ride a bike. There were just so many things that they had done together, and he completely shut down. It was just complete wall. And it was a lot of conversation of I don't need anyone else in my life. That protection of I don't want to lose anyone else. And so it took maybe 6 months for me to be able to really just talk with him, talk through that with him, to get him to accept that he needs to talk to someone who can get him to share his feelings and the good memories and to go through because he didn't understand. Even in a ninth grader is not going to understand what's going on in his brain, and how his shutdown and his wall, how it's affecting everything else that he's doing. He shut down in school. He shut down and he was talking back to teachers. Like it was um, a, a plethora of behaviors that were suddenly showing up. And it was all from stemming from a loss of his grandfather. And he had not dealt with that grief yet.
Yeah.
So
And
we had to,
yeah, we never get taught how to deal with that, right? Even have
no.
you ever been like that should be part of education, don't you think? Losing something or
Yes.
someone, how to deal with that should be part of education because
Even,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
No, no.
even parents, as a parent, I don't know how to help my child go through grief as a child when it's hard as adults. I
Yes.
was grieving too.
Yes.
I lost my father.
Yeah.
So, that was hard.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that in
We
the
don't want
system.
to, and then what happens is we bottle up all those emotions and then we explode. Explosive behaviors come out, anxiety, anger, explosive angers, and then we're like, why are you angry, what for? And then we can't even say it because we can't pinpoint it what it is, right? We won't know it's the grief or the some kind of undealt expressions that we didn't express with anyone, right? So I truly think that it should be part of education.
I do too. I think there are a lot of things, just understanding, just communication. There's no communication classes anymore. There's no classes that teach you when this is going on. Let's look at this behavior. What's my body doing? The fight or flight. Kids understand the words fight, flight, but or fawn, but they don't really understand what that means and how they can overcome it. They just know that it exists
Yeah.
because some adult told them.
And sometimes some kids don't even know they're feeling it, like like they're freezing, they don't know. I mean, we just call it behavior though, right?
Mhm.
All of it
Yes,
is just labeled as behavior, right? So how can they even know? Yeah, it's hard for them to know. So many parents grew up in homes where parents spoke and children listened, right? How do you think that affects communication with children today? Because we just talked about that, right? Like we always got instructions from our parents and we just followed it.
right,
There was no questions about it. They
right.
never said, "Oh, how are you feeling about this instruction?" Right? They just expected to be get it done.
Yes. I still to this day, when my mom asks me to do something, I say, just a minute, let me get up and go do it. Because that's just that's how I was raised. You get
Exactly.
up and do it at the time. And so, yes. And then, my parenting is a little different. You have these chores to do and they're due at this time. I don't care what order you do them in, but I need them done.
Mm,
It's just a little bit of space for them.
yes. Yes.
But
But listening, they never. I don't think we none of us we could say confidently that unless you had a different type of parent at that in the past, we never had sat down and have shared the feelings, right?
no, absolutely not. We were spoken to.
Yes. Yes. And then feelings were not. It's not like they didn't think we had them, but they didn't think it was necessary.
Right.
Almost, right? It wasn't necessary. So that's why some of us as adults would have, as parents, would have hard time understanding about our kids feelings, right? We have to teach ourselves,
Mhm.
right? We have to learn it. It's not going to come natural to us, right?
Exactly.
Did you ever feel pressure comparing your children to other kids and wondering what you were doing anything wrong because the other kids were seemed perfect? You must be-
Yes, absolutely. I have a friend, and when I would look at her kids, I would just be amazed at how wonderful and fantastic they were. What she wasn't telling me was all the things that she was keeping inside about what was going on with her children. So in my mind, it's kind of what social media does. That social media puts off this perfect life.
yes.
Life isn't perfect, and we should not only display the perfect part of our life. We should also be able to be vulnerable in a space where we feel safe, and that's hard to do today, especially with social media. It's hard to be vulnerable without someone saying something. But for me, uh, it was the people that were immediately around me. I had my own view of what perfection was, but my perfection view, I was looking at it as an expectation, but those are totally different things. I can't expect my son to be perfect. That's ridiculous. And so I was putting a lot of pressure on him. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And then when I had my daughter, I kind of took that off a little bit, and I noticed a whole different teenager. So she
Mhm.
still struggles. She actually has more um, struggles than my son ever did. But it's not that big a deal. I don't mind talking about what's going on because there's somebody out there, another parent who's going through the same thing,
Yes.
and I want to help them. Nobody
Yes.
was there to help me through my things with my son. And so this is like the perfect space for that because my experience is going to be able to help someone else, and my journey is going to be able to help someone else. And that's what I love about the community of coaches. So,
We openly share everything.
yes.
Yes, 100%. So tell me about becoming a holistic neurogrowth success coach. How has that changed for you in helping others with parenting?
It opened my eyes to, I view behavior completely different, uh, home and at school. It's even though I was already working towards finding ways to be a better parent, there were things about me that I had to grow and let go of in
Mm.
order for me to be even better parent to my children. And so that has been nice. It's been nice to have those fun little interactions with my kids. It's been fun to um, have them talk to me about things that they haven't necessarily ever spoken to me about. It wasn't that they didn't feel safe, it was just, it wasn't the space for it. I wasn't in the space for it. And so becoming a holistic coach and learning about those limiting beliefs and learning about um, the journey, my own personal dealing with my own childhood struggles, and then dealing with things that happened to me in junior high and high school and then college, and working through those things and realizing that that kind of shaped who I am. I don't I I can't say that I regret that it happened because it's made me a more empathetic and more understanding coach. But I do wish that coaches had been around a whole lot longer. I think it would have saved me some of my heartache. But it has completely, I feel like a completely different person, like a 180. Things that used to bother me or get me very upset, I'm calm about. I can find solutions. I feel like my creativity's come back. I felt very stifled in teaching the lessons. I couldn't come up with things, and now it just flows out of my head. So it's been in a good. It's put me in a very good space.
Beautiful, beautiful, love it. And also, you came home to yourself. You said you you felt more about you, right? You were
Yeah,
talking all about you. Now that's really important for parenting or teaching as well, anything and everything. Because if we're not home, how can we serve others,
correct.
right? If our center is not fulfilled and whole, how can we be ready for others, right? Not possible at all. So that's why coming home to yourself is the most important
Yes.
step. And then, but that's not what we do though. We look for strategies, we look for external things like, I just need another best thing to deal with this. No, doesn't matter. Whatever the best thing you find is not going to work until you're home.
And it helps me listen to parents more on what they specifically need,
Yes.
not what I did. It's not about what I did for my children. My child is not your child, and I am not you. But it
Yes.
allows me to have that opening to just be able to listen to the parents and then work through those problems with them.
Yes. And also becoming aware, so much aware and noticing. Like people don't like to notice and be aware, but the awareness is what humans have lost. We just
Yes.
like to rush to it, right? We just want results. We just want to rush to get it done, right? But if we just back off
Yeah.
and just observe, witness, become aware and become noticed with our kids too,
Hmm.
we'll see so much different. And that in order to do that, we have to be here and now, right? I can't be in my future
Right.
producing something in the future, or in the past rewatching something that happened, and then be aware cannot happen. The awareness can only be present if you're here and now as a parent. So our kids tell us a lot of signals, right? There's so much signals that comes from them. It's not through words, it's just so many things they can say. I mean, say as well as do, right?
Hmm.
And their body language, right?
Yes.
So if we're not aware, we're not noticing, we can't catch the pattern. We'll just repeat the pattern after pattern. And that's why we always say, I don't know why we're always doing this, right?
Hmm.
I always end up doing this with you, or I always end up fighting with you, or I always have to ask you again and again and again. And if we're saying that there's a pattern.
When you said that, it made me think of, as a teacher, the kids who put their heads down,
Mhm.
and the one kid that, we automatically assume it's for lack of sleep, but sometimes that I've had kids tell me, I'm just so overwhelmed. They'll just start crying in the middle of class. I'm
Mhm.
so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. But it's coming from home, and it's also coming from school and the pressure of having to take tests and, getting ready for this event or that event. And then you have the other ones who are have their head down because they're sleepy. Like, you can't even look at them. You have to look at the individual child and be aware of who they are and what they are in in your capacity of working with them, to be able to know how you can help them. And the awareness is definitely key.
And you cannot be aware if you're not here and now. And
Correct.
many parents, many of us are not here and now. We've trained us very well to be in the past or the future.
Mhm.
And that is why we're feeling so much pressure and anxiety, right? So tell me about your son. You mentioned that your 20-year-old was afraid to step into adulthood.
Oh, so it wasn't my son. It was my best friend's daughter. So I have a friend whose daughter, she has anxiety. And so she's lived in her anxiety for so long that it's taking her a little bit longer than other kids to kind of unlearn the behaviors of the limitations she's placed on herself. So in her mind, she's scared to drive. She's scared to go to school. She's scared to work. She wants those things. She'll tell you, I want to have a job. I want to go here. This is the job I'd like to have. I'd like to go to school for this. But the actual steps it takes to go into it is where she is uh, posting up. It's what I call it. When post up, and I was like, I'm not moving. I'm not going nowhere. And she'll break it down a little bit, and she'll try it for a few days, and then she'll go back to what she's comfortable with. And so we just keep pushing her, just very gently, to try things at home. Let's get out of your comfort zone at home, and let's start trying these things. And she is really dependent on her parents um, for her next step, because she's nervous, and her parents are very supportive.
Mm.
They're like, whatever step you want to take now, let's do it. She for some reason is struggling with believing in herself to that she's able to do all the things that she wants to do.
Don't you think this is the theme, like not theme, but this is kind of currently happening with a lot of young adults?
Yes, I see it all. So many kids now do not drive.
Yeah.
That
And
was like a rite of passage.
I know, I took it too. The minute I could, I was there.
They just don't want to. And it's confusing to me. And it's, great kids. It's kids who still go off to college, but they, would rather take the bus to college or hitch a ride or Uber or whatever. And I'm like, why? Why would you not want your own car or whatever? And
Is it because
yeah,
the economy? Do you think it's economy that's they're afraid that it's too much expensive? If I have to leave home, it's going to be expensive. I don't know if I can afford it. Getting a job, even getting a job is hard for them, right? Staying in school seems
yes.
to be hard because we work with a lot of families who are dealing with this, right? This anxiety about stepping into adulthood.
I think maybe sometimes it's a financial situation, the economy, but I don't think so. Because there's so many, you can have a child in the same family who does all the things. I just think it depends on that child and what their experiences are. And sometimes we just have to figure out what's going on because we don't know. I didn't grow up in a technology world. It was thrown into my adulthood, and I don't know the consequences of gaming. I don't know I can't relate, I should say. I can't relate to the consequences of gaming or
Yes.
social media or those things because it wasn't something that I had really until we'd had
Yes.
chat rooms when I was in college. Um, and the lucky ones had a phone and
Mm-hmm.
our phones were big. So I think it's a even the school system is different. The expectations aren't the same.
Yeah. What do you think about I've been looking into COVID because if you think about they're 20 right now, they would have been 14, 15, right?
Mhm,
When COVID
mhm.
happened, right? So
Right.
what about that situation? Did we ever help our kids come out of COVID? Like did we
No.
have any conversations about reintroducing them to the real world again?
Nope. And I don't think that a lot of adults even thought about it. I think it was, "Yay, we're free.
It's
Let's go
because
back
kids
to
are
normal."
resilient, right? Kids
Yeah,
are flexible and resilient, so they should just come and go. I
yeah.
mean, there's no problem. But I
Mhm.
think young adults are affected by it. If they're 20, 21, we're seeing a big problem.
Yes,
Social anxiety is a huge problem right now for that
yes,
age group.
yes,
So we can
absolutely.
see the 15, 16, right? Those were the years to be
Mhm,
socially going
mhm.
outward and getting that confident and that skill set to be in the real world, right? But they were shut down for a period. We just didn't have a conversation. We could have actually reintroduced them properly. We could have taken months out of school instead of pushing the content back onto them. We could have taken them to explain what it is and what's happened, and this is how you're going to feel. This is how it might have affected you. Why not? Why not?
Right. I don't
That's,
Yeah,
I know we
that's a
don't
great
have
question.
answers. I know. I just have a lot of questions. I just have a lot of questions. I always ask a lot of questions, but I'm not asking you to answer it. But wouldn't it be great though, right? Wouldn't it have been great to do
Yes,
that? And
yes.
all of our students would have benefited from all of that.
Our schools started to have we had a communication class, speech class. It didn't last but a year. And now that you're saying that, it was it was very tough for that teacher to just get the kids to speak in front of the class. I struggle with it. It's hard for my kids. They refuse to stand in front of the room. And I'm like, you're not going to do well in high school because I teach eighth grade if you can't give a presentation.
Hmm.
Like, you do that a lot in high school. We got to practice now, get those jitters out. And so we do small group things, but I do wish that we did it more and not just you speaking in front of group of four, but a group of 10 and then a group of 20, like kind of work them up. And I think that's how COVID should have been is we worked them back in. I think they tried. I'm not sure that they really thought it all the way through though. Yeah.
No, there was very little. We just went back to work, and everyone was just so scared that they fell back in the curriculum, right?
And I think that this being scared of the COVID, I
Yeah,
think that also,
we talked about that one time too, right?
Hmm.
Just the fear of unknown virus
Hmm.
alone can, just shut me down.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing. We never talk to our kids, especially the young ones, right? They don't know the difference. There's a virus out there that's gonna, hurt you. Then they're gonna be constantly thinking, "Where's this virus that's gonna hurt me?"
Hmm.
Because that's what kids do,
Right.
right? So young adults, socially, yeah. And then during that time, they also was blocked inside the house, so they didn't have any physical activities. Also, then they were stuck with a lot of electronics. So then
Mhm.
just kind of a lot of habits were created which are not going to be broken just because we return back to school,
Right. Right.
because habits don't break like that. Just because I shift, it doesn't go right. If I created something, and especially technology, if we become use it a lot, consume a lot, it's not a habit to break easily. So we're seeing that now in many students unable to focus for any long time, right, as well. So how is that for you in classroom? How are you seeing with these kids in the classroom?
Uh, I have to change what I'm doing every 5 to 10 minutes. So
So you're
focus.
like the reels. You're like the those shorts and reels on social
Yes.
media.
Yes.
It's like 5 second move. We'll put the next
Let's
one
get
on.
through it. Everything has a little timer, but we have a timer for this, and it should be 5 to 7 minutes for this warm up, and it should be a 10-15 minute lesson, but they need to have an activity. And I'm looking at the kids, and I'm like, I need y'all to read this. Oh, but Miss, I was like, it's 2 pages. Just read it. We're going to talk all about it for the rest of the time. But just getting them into I teach English, so getting them into anything, uh, I'm I'm confused. I'm like, hey guys, you're gonna have to read 5 pages one day. What? 5 pages? Yes, this is just part of it. And so they come up with all these excuses. They'll end up doing it, but it does take them a minute. I have to really like, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna do great. You can read this. You can do the job. I have to really pep talk, but it is broken down into smaller pieces. And it's not just my school. This is, statewide. I'm in Texas, so this is statewide, but
Yeah.
this is something I see in other states too.
Yes, yes, it's all
So,
across because our attention's very short now. We just want to watch reels and shorts. So just about that time, we need something to change like this, right?
yes,
Look at us consuming, even adults, right?
yes,
Scrolling, consuming, right? So that's the speed our brain is needs to have some stimulation, right? Like to move faster, right? That's why the younger kids are having that too. So what would you say to a parent right now who feels like they've been failing because their child is struggling, or they've been just telling themselves? Sometimes, we make up stories, right? Our brain is so powerful, it'll make up all sorts of stories, right, telling us that you're not doing enough. And if we are, if we have perfectionism as parents, like you mentioned, we'll never be good enough, right? We'll always be failing.
right. I
So
think I would ask them, um, what makes them think that they're failing? Like specifically,
yeah,
what part do you feel in? And then really sit down and break down the parenting and say, you're probably not failing. The child is still alive. You're feeding it. It's got clothes, they have a place to be, they're safe. Where is it that you feel like you're failing? And maybe talk about one or two things that parent can implement that week into to allow themselves to just kind of back off. Maybe they feel maybe it's a rush, maybe it's a schedule problem. You'll find that out when they start talking. If it's a schedule problem, that's a kind of an easy fix, because sometimes parents feel. I had a conversation with a parent the other day. She wants her daughter in 4 activities, and her daughter's like, "I'm tired. I'm tired of doing this. I don't want to do this anymore." And the dad's like, "You don't have to do it." And the mom goes, "Yes, you do. Yes, you do." And this is a conversation right in front of me. And so the mom's like, "Yes, because Sally over here is doing this, 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 and this. You're only doing 2 things. That's not a lot." And the little girl is saying, yes, it's too much for me. I don't enjoy it anymore. It's just too much. And the mom is thinking she has to keep up with her friend's kid, and that's not the case at all. And the mom ended up listening. She ended up like understanding, but it just took her a minute to be like, oh, well,
Because then sometimes as parents we can also think just being lazy, right?
yes,
I mean, so
absolutely. I think that's my biggest thing with my daughter. I would, for the longest, I would say, you're just being lazy. She's like, Mom, I'm not. I was like, every kid says that.
yes, yes, you're just trying to get out of it.
Uh-huh. And
Yeah.
it wasn't for her. It was a whole different situation.
Yes.
So
It could be that sometimes it could be that, but even if I'm trying to get out of it, there's a reason why I'm trying to get out of it, right? So if we can go to that reason and then come back to it, but just calling it out just lazy, like at the beginning, would just shut the child down because we
yeah,
haven't really investigated why they're avoiding it. There's a reason somebody avoids something.
yes,
And lazy is not one of the reasons, but we
no,
always think like that because
correct.
that's our way of conditioned, right? Because if you're go getter, you got to be go getter all the time, right?
Mhm.
If you're not, then you're lazy. I mean, that's how we
I
got all labeled.
we do that though. I mean, I avoid the dishes till the last minute, till right before I go to bed. I could wash them after dinner, but I choose not to. I'm not lazy. I'm just avoiding it because I'm overwhelmed at the time, and I just want to sit down and do nothing for 5 minutes. Can you, let's do that. So yeah, I can see that.
So as parents, is the most important thing is it's that observation we talked about, right? Even if you're so overwhelmed and you're feeling like failure, let's just back off and start observing your family, your child. Like give that bring that awareness and be here and now without any judgments from the past or producing stories and for the future. Just if you can be here and now and just look, just notice what are they doing, what is like preceding the whatever's happening, right? What happened before, what are they saying, how is that a pattern, how do you see that as a pattern and it's repeating, and that's why it's triggering you that you're failing, because
Mhm.
they have a pattern now, and every time they run that pattern you're feeling like, oh, I'm failing as a parent. So what is that pattern? If we could pinpoint the pattern, it's always beautiful to see, oh, here's what I see, what's happening, right? So we can then dig into it deeper, right? And
Yes,
we have patterns too. As parents, we
yes,
also have
absolutely.
patterns. So we have to notice that as well. We can't just notice on other people. I always say you got to be home first. Know
Mhm.
your patterns first. You know.
I remember noticing some things with my daughter, and I decided that being at home wasn't a good place to have that conversation. And so I took her out to the beach and we sat in the car. So now we have car moments. And she knows that car moments are times where I just need your undivided attention. I need no distractions. And let's talk about what I noticed. And she's very honest with me. If she doesn't believe that that's what's going on, she'll say why she believes that. But it's really has grown that part of our relationship a lot. And I think that's also something that we as parents, because I didn't do that with my son, I we forget those things because we're dealing with our own stresses and issues, and how are we going to do this, and how are we going to get this done, and because you want to give your kids more than you were given. You want them to try, you want them to play baseball and football and basketball, but do they have to do it all today,
Yeah.
this year? Or can
Yes.
they do one each year until they find something they love?
Yes.
So there's just,
I love what you just shared. You just created a like a ritual between you and your daughter to go on that car ride, and have conversation. And I always talked about this. A psychologist once have told me that if we don't have our children facing us when we're talking to them, it's better for them to share if they're side by side. So that's why walking and talking is better. Riding in a car and talking is better, because like when think about it, when we were kids, right? When our parents looking at us and we're talking, it's different, right? Because they're looking,
Yes.
because they're watching us, right? But if
Yes.
they're not watching us and we're just speaking, it's fine. There's some authority on, they're watching us, right? So that's why the psychologist said that it's always better to have these deep conversation if you go for a walk or if you go for a ride, because then they don't need to look and we don't need to look at them.
Right.
So the conversation flows naturally, right? As it, so it's important to create some rituals, as you're observing and as you're noticing what the patterns are. Create something where you can have this undivided attention, because undivided attention these days are what's hard to find and
Correct.
create.
Hmm.
Yeah, every
Right.
one of us, even not just the kids but even adults, struggling with that, right? To find
Yes.
undivided attention is not a, it's not an easy thing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this, because it's such an important topic, because it's so much hidden. We as parents, we don't like to talk about that. I'm feeling like I'm failing my family or my child,
Right.
and it's just me and everyone else is perfect parents. Like, our brain then starts bringing up all the facts, right? Yeah, obviously you're the bad parent. You look at you, you just did this, you just yelled, you just did that, you don't do this, you don't do this, and then all the facts add up and you're like, yeah, definitely I'm failing. I'm not a good parent, right? But we have to look at the pattern we've talked about many times, right? And what about, after becoming a coach, about noticing, and that, you said you're now relaxed, you step back and you
Yes.
observe, right? How has that changed for you?
Oh, well, I can recognize it in myself a whole lot sooner because I'm also looking at it in other people, and it's a very natural. I mean, I could be having dinner somewhere, and I could notice what's going on at a table next to me, and it's not an evaluation and it's not a judgment, and I think that's where a lot of people will refuse to talk to people because they feel judged. It's not, because I see me and you. So if
Yes.
I see me and you, I can't judge you for something because I'm now sharing something with you that was never shared with me.
And
So
when we're noticing, it's not judgment either. Like, don't go into critical. Like, when I say notice your patterns, it doesn't mean start criticizing yourself. Oh,
correct,
look
or your
at,
child.
oh, Charles. It's not a judgment thing. It's just noticing. It's just a relaxed noticing. Relax and notice. It's almost like step back and like observe as a third person looking into it. Like, you don't be yourself. Because if I'm myself, sometimes I start, correcting it or saying things, right? We don't want that, right? So, when you came into the program, you said that you had a little bit of, health issues and then anxiety, right? Is that correct? Last
Oh
time you
gosh,
shared?
yes. Yes,
How
I
has that changed since you became a coach?
well, almost, I'd say within the first month of being a coach, I noticed that that's when my creativity came back. It was the moment that I could create a lesson, an entire unit, and it was just firing off of my brain, and I was writing out all my thoughts. I was like, oh, look at me go. Like, I wasn't stressed out. I was usually spending hours and hours trying to come up with a lesson plan or problem solving for something for a student that I needed to help teach them something and they weren't getting it. And I needed to find a new way of teaching it that wasn't coming natural to me anymore. And a situation had happened at home with a neighbor. And I was like, oh, it's okay. She's probably having a bad day. And then I just started talking to her more about the situation. I was like, are you feeling okay today? Because I noticed that, your eyes look like you have a real bad headache. And we'll come to find out she had just been diagnosed with something. And so that was where her stress is. She's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you like that. I was like, ah, it's okay. Everybody's going through something. How can I help? And so it just kind of led it to a little bit more natural. But I notice it's just very problem solving is simpler. I, I I have so much to share and so much I want to say, and I my view of myself is different.
Mm.
So, I'm more at peace with my perfectionism. I don't feel like I have to be perfect, and I can be vulnerable and not feel judged. People can still judge me; it doesn't matter. But it's just here's who I am. This is who I am, and I've accepted me for this, and I am more at peace with myself, and I really just am. I can't explain. You have to experience it. I cannot explain the peace. I know
Yes,
you know what I'm talking about, but someone who has not experienced it yet,
yes,
parent, teacher,
yes.
coach, it
Thank you.
is just a brand new outlook on life, and I couldn't ask for anything better to come at the right time.
Yes, it was there for you in the right time. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, that feeling is flow.
Yeah. There you go. I knew that.
I have a name for it. That feeling is flow. That's what feels like. Nothing bothers. Everything just flows.
Yes.
Bad days are just flowing as well. Good days are flowing as well. There's nothing's gonna upset us because internally we are so centered and so in at home, right? You're
Mhm.
home, so because before we were never home. We were taught to leave this home, right?
Yes.
But that finally home, it doesn't matter if somebody's judging. I mean, it's their choice. They want to judge, okay, go ahead.
Yes.
You have your mind, you go ahead and produce whatever you want to, but it doesn't bother me. I'm happy. I'm fine. It's your problem for judging. It's not my problem, right? Before it wasn't like that for me either. It was like, what are they thinking? What are they saying? I better correct what they think. I better go tell them that that's not who I am. Now I don't care. Maybe you're like that too. And another part of that feeling is flow, but the other one is bliss.
Blitz.
Bliss.
Bliss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in a bliss state where everything is happy. And you want to talk to people and you want to witness people. You want to observe the people that you're with, your children. You want to notice and you want to notice the pattern so we don't repeat it if they're not good for us. And if you notice a pattern that's great, you want to create that more to stay in flow, right? So
Yes.
that's the feeling you just explained. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being that coach who has received the coaching first. Our program is always receiving that coaching yourself, and now you're gifting that back to all the other people who needs this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me this evening. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Anything you want to add before we finish?
No, not at all.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for watching. And yes, if you're feeling any guilt, any shame that you're failing as a parent, I can tell you're not.
Yeah.
You're not, because you're doing everything you can. But if there's a pattern, just notice, like we said. And if
Yes.
you have any comments, if you need any help, Becky offers coaching. You can find her anywhere on the internet as her name. She's on all socials. We are all on LinkedIn, actually. We're very, 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 very vocal on LinkedIn. So if you want to follow us, we're always coming up here with something every day to talk to you, and we're here to help. That's what we do. And if you have anything that you want us to talk about next time, just put it in the comment, and we can also talk about that on our next show. Thank you so much, Coach Becky, and have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you. Bye.